Great to see you. Welcome to all of you. If you're a guest with us, I want to say a special welcome to you. Really glad to have you in the house today. Let's say hi to our campuses, to Lockwood and to Plentywood, to Cody and to the group in Butte. Welcome to you guys as well. If you're a guest with us today, would you bear with me for just a moment? A little bit of family stuff that we need to talk about. Hi, welcome back. Good to see you. So some slides to take a look at, some numbers, because the council likes me to give you a quarterly report. We're already into the fourth quarter. Our fiscal year ends in August, so here's some stuff for you to be aware of. So you see last year's budget. The middle one is this year's budget, and you see how far we are right now. Kind of the key thing there is the 68 grand behind budget currently. So we got 2 months to go or so in our fiscal year. Really hoping to be in the black by the end of August. So would you please do your part, everybody? Ramey and I are trying to do ours as well. To stay up on it. I think we can hit our budget hit this year, guys. It would be awesome if we did. Next one is an indicator of spiritual growth. Actually, this is giving per worship service attendee. And you see that we're growing there. That's a very important metric that churches keep tabs on because where your treasure is, your heart will be also. So it indicates commitment as well as maturity when we see that going up. So that's good. And the third one is, this is fun. Okay, so every campus has a budget, right? And so what you're looking at here is that line across the horizontal line is 100% of budget, and meaning that it's of course all proportional, but Heights, this campus here, we are behind 5%. Lockwood campus is ahead 7%. Cody campus in Wyoming is behind 6%. And then look at the freak show in Plentywood. Those guys are raging. So props to Plentywood, right? Give it up for Plentywood. So now it's proportional, so they can't carry the whole load. It's quite a small campus, based on numbers. But they are a faithful, enthusiastic, godly bunch of folks. And so I'm proud of those guys. So be inspired by Plentywood. Okay? All right. So the series we're in is called Building Blocks. We're working on parenting. This is the first parenting series at Harvest Church. We talked a couple of weeks ago about obedience, not happiness. Then we talked last weekend about discipline, not punishment. Today we're talking skills, not excuses. Next weekend we talk purity, not promiscuity. We wanted to include this message, the purity one, in this sermon series because it's such a vital topic for parents to work through with their kids. Pastor Eric, who gets to speak in the public schools on abstinence, is going to bring that material and some other insight, biblical insight, into that whole subject into the room next weekend. And he's talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of high school kids on this subject and has got a very interesting insight that I think you'll like to hear about. So that's going to be next weekend. Today, though, it is skills, not excuses. One more thing on this. I've been talking to you about these books, Have a New Kid by Friday or Have a New Teenager by Friday. There's enough interest around all of that we're starting a small group on it. And so if you're interested in kind of processing some of the material in those books, then would you just let us know with the info card or stop at Small Group Central at any of the campuses today, and they'll get you the information you need about being a part of that particular small group. All right, so the stuff I want to talk about today is some skills that is, I think, vital that we teach our children. And you see, guys, we all acknowledge that culture is a mess these days. And there's a temptation for parents to put the bar too low in that we just want our kids to sort of survive rather than thrive in the culture. As a matter of fact, our kids can be the culture changers. We all agree that culture is a mess, but our kids can actually be the culture changers in the world. It can happen. There's a reason why there are so many stellar young people in Scripture. What God is doing with that is He is saying, this is how I do things. It's not how I did things, it's how I do things, and it can be done again. Samuel, Joseph, David, Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Mary, the mother of Jesus, all of the disciples, very young people who literally changed the world. Famously, there is David and Goliath, a story that's sort of chalked up as a children's story that happens to be verified. It's historically true with powerful applications for our lives and for the lives of our children. That the lives that our kids are in right now is a battlefield. It's a battlefield of ideas and morals and ethics and principles and values and behavior. It's a battle for meaning. And there are giants in the world that are evil and intimidating and persuasive and powerful. These are giants that seek to destroy our kids. It's bad out there. And the tendency is to do what Israel did, and that is hide and be afraid. As parents, we are tempted to teach our kids to cope rather than to train them to win. We are tempted to give them excuses and allow them to give excuses and thereby setting the bar way too low. No. Our kids can win this battle. Our kids can actually transform the culture that they're forced to live in. But parents, it is going to be up to us to equip them with the skills, not excuses, to defeat the devils and the Goliaths in their lives and in the battleground of this world. And as a young boy, David uses 5 smooth stones to defeat Goliath. And so what I would like to do with the help of Chip Ingram is talk to you today about 5 smooth stones. Just 5 skills. These aren't the last of the skills. These are just 5 that we want to talk about today that you can use to arm your kids for battle. You've got them there in your notes. Let's work through them. Here's the first one. Stone number 1, teach them to suffer and to suffer well. You see, the life myth, each one of these has a life myth and a life message. The life myth is that suffering is to be avoided at all costs, and moms especially. You try to protect your kids from any sort of suffering. But the problem is that the life message is that suffering is normal. Just this week, there was a lady at the Oasis who went to the pool manager and complained to him, and because what she said is, I get here at 11:30 so that I can stake out my spot on the deck in the shade with a nice view of the water. And then these other people come and they take their chairs and they put them out in front of me, and then I can't see the water anymore. And I want you to do something about that. Seriously? Like, here's a lady whose parents did not teach her to suffer well, and presumably her kids aren't learning to suffer well. Like we're going to complain about that? See, this really has to come down with expectations. This is one of the strings I strum a lot, is that all anger is the result of an unmet expectation, and so our expectations are crucial in how we view the world and what our attitude is. We should be expecting suffering. Expect it. Jesus told you this in John 16. In this world you will have trouble, he says. You will have trouble. It's coming. Expect it. And then he adds, but take heart, I've overcome the world. So you cling to me and hang with me, and we'll overcome this together. But you're going to have trouble. See, we spend too much time complaining about discomfort and suffering and not enough time thanking God that we made it through another day without a limb falling off or an organ shutting down. Every day that there isn't a catastrophe in our lives, we should go, pretty good day. Because there could have been, maybe should have been a catastrophe. So then we point our kids to Christ who overcomes all of these catastrophes. So look, our kids are going to come to us discouraged, sad, frustrated, in pain, and a message that we've got to give our kids is, okay, yep, this is inevitable. Now, we're not playing the victim here. Like, okay, yep, it hurts. But maybe there's something bigger going on here. Because this is exactly what happened to Joseph. In Genesis 50, it says this, you intended to harm me. This is Joseph talking to his brothers. You intended to harm me by throwing me in a pit and selling me as a slave to some traveling gypsies. You definitely intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, which is the saving of many lives. What an incredible message to pass along to our kids. Well, sure, give them some sympathy. Yep, there's some suffering going on. You are in trouble right now. God said that there was going to be trouble, but God also says he can overcome it, and he's going to use it in other people's lives as well as in yours. Toughen up, suffer well. Stone number 2, teach them to work as working for the Lord. The myth on this one is that work is to be endured as a means to a higher standard of living. But the life message is God created you to work. Work is a calling. Work is pre-fall. Work is not a result of sin. God gave us the blessing and the gift of work before sin entered the world. And so he gave us the call to work. The word vocation, which we use to describe our work, vocation, The word actually means to summon or to call. God has called us to be workers, and yet 75% of Americans don't like their job. 75%. No wonder everybody's so frustrated. That's 3 out of 4 people angry about how they spend most of their day. 3 out of 4. And yet, work is sacred. Work is a call. Work is a gift given to us by God. So parents, on that note, I want to encourage you to be careful how you talk about your job around your kids, especially if there's some complaining to be done. Careful how you complain, because remember, you be complaining about something sacred. You're complaining about a gift that God has given you, which is work. So you model working hard, but you also model how you respond to work when it's difficult. Now, you might need to change jobs, or you might need to change your attitude. But either way, you've got to approach work as sacred so that your kids understand, oh, this is a gift I'm getting. See, look at Colossians 3:23. It says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart. Even when you're not liking it, work at it with all your heart. But here then is the new perspective that should be helpful, and it's kind of the attitude changer. As working for the Lord, not for men. Not for a human boss and not for a paycheck. You're working for the Lord. Since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. Heck, with the paycheck, you get an inheritance from God when you work as though you're working for God. And then look at this. It is the Lord Jesus Christ you are serving. It is the Lord Christ that you are serving. Turns out it isn't your human boss you're serving. You're serving Christ. That means you're working as though Jesus were the boss. That elevates work as something sacred. Work should be elevated as something sacred and wonderful. And therefore, chores in the house is a sacred thing that you give your kids. So you've got to teach them to work and work hard and work right and work as unto the Lord. That means you got to give them work to do. That means give them chores. And so apologies to all the kids in the room, but your parents are going to give you chores and lots of them. All right, that's work. Stone number 3, teach them to manage money wisely. Life myth on this one is everything in life is yours to use as you see fit, but the life message is actually your life is sacred stewardship and you own nothing. Get this in your kid's head early because you're still struggling with it. 1 Corinthians 4, what do you have that you did not receive? Everything you've got is because God said you could have it. It's all his. That's what Psalm 24 says. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it. So it's all God's. He says we get to have some of it. And so we just kind of hold on to our stuff loosely because it's God's. So you take care of it because it's God. You're not spending your money. You're spending God's money, and he's watching how his money is getting spent. Now admit this, you guys. Admit it. Lots of us, I would even say most of us, would be happier today if we had a better and more biblical perspective on money and possessions. So you can give your kids the gift of that kind of happiness if you teach them a better and more biblical perspective on managing money. Now, one of the very best ways to do this is when your children are very small is to teach them to tithe. Early on, you teach this powerful principle that will affect the rest of their lives when they get it at a young age, and then they don't have the baggage that most adults have today on the tithe deal. Teach them to tithe. Now, here's how I did this with Maddie. Maddie was very, very young, and she was just starting to kind of earn a pittance here and there, you know. And so as she would get money, I'm teaching her to tithe. 10% of this goes to the Lord. Now, 10% is kind of an abstract concept for a little kid. And so here's what I did with her. I took her to the kitchen counter, and I took 10 $1 bills, and I put them out across the counter, just lined up in front of her, sat her down there. And then I said to her, you know, she's looking at more money than she's ever seen in her life, you know, 10 $1 bills. And I said to her, now, Maddie, all of this is God's. This is what the Bible says, that the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. That means all of this money is his. I know you feel like it's yours, but it's not yours, it's his. Okay. Now, here's what he says. He says, okay, this is all my money. Now just give me one of them. Just one. So I took one of those dollar bills and I just slid it away from her. And he says, you get to have 9. He just wants 1. When you give him that 1, what you're doing is you're saying to him, yep, I know this is all yours. I'm thanking you and I'm worshiping you. He gets 1, you get 9. So she goes, oh, so it's all God's, yep. And there's 10 of them, but he just wants one, and I get the other 9? I said, yep. She goes, sweet. And I'm like, it is sweet. It is sweet. You get 9. It's all his. And if it's all his, you'd kind of think he'd go, you get 1, I get 9. But God is gracious and generous. And so he gives us 9. And he just tells us, now you just give me 1 to show me that you love me, that you're grateful, and that you worship me. You get to live on the 9. And look, adults, parents, like you're still struggling with giving God his 10%. And it's a little kid that goes, sweet, I only have to give him 1. And somehow something changes and we go to great effort to go into the Bible and prove that we don't have to tithe anymore. And we do a tremendous disservice to our own families when we're doing that. And so if you're going to teach your kid to tithe, then hello, no hypocrisy in your home, then you're a tither too. Because you can't tell your kids to do something you're not doing. But now, when you teach your kid to tithe, all of a sudden they've got this great perspective on money, and they're not going to carry a whole bunch of baggage with them for the rest of their lives. And so we think in terms of the 10, 10, 80. Tithe 10, save 10, live on 80. Look, if we were all doing that, would the economy be in better shape in America? Man, such an easy principle. And so when you get, you struggle with it now as an adult, but your kid isn't gonna. They're gonna go, yeah, it makes sense. So give them the gift of teaching them to work hard and make money, and then use it wisely. That's stone number 3. Here's stone number 4. Teach them to make wise decisions. Okay, the myth on this one is only you can decide the best, most fulfilling way to live your life. The life message is, holy living allows you to experience God's best for your life. Obeying God, doing what he says, is the highest quality of life. Our children's decision-making abilities are going to make or break their lives. Right? Our children's decision-making ability is going to make or break their lives. So no pressure there, huh, parents? You got to teach them to make great decisions. Now, this is where the Bible becomes your greatest ally, where you run all of life through the grid of the Word. Your home is Word-centered. You let the Bible decide and dictate what is right and wrong, good and evil, proper behavior and immoral behavior. Because look, our kids today are facing more choices than ever before. And the older they get, the more decisions that they are going to make apart from your presence. So you got to help them now when they're young, to help them make decisions now that are wise so that they will make decisions later that are wise. And that means, parents, and here's the hard part, you're going to have to take some risks around your house. Now, if you're a quadrant 3 parent, we talked about last week, so rigid, controlling, this is going to be hard for you. But you have got to take some risks and let your kids make some decisions on their own, knowing that there's a good chance that they're going to fail even though you're letting them make that decision. They have to know that your home is a safe place to fail. They've got to practice making good decisions. Good decision making is practice. Practice includes failure. So the question maybe that you should ask yourself is, where do you want them to fail? Do you want them to fail in your house where they're under your protection and guidance? Or do you want them to fail when they leave your home and the consequences are that much more severe? This is a very difficult question. This is a very difficult exercise that you will do in your home as parents. For example, here's how it happened once in my house. So Emily, maybe 15 years old or so, got interested in this guy. He was interested in her, and we knew that because he was courting her via text. Give me a break. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject. So she wanted to date this guy. All right, now she's 15. In our household, we don't have this like age when you get to start dating. It's when you're ready, you get to start dating, and I decide when you're ready, okay? Which is funny, but also totally true. So from the time they could understand words, I'm helping my daughters understand the kind of man that they are looking for in their lives, the criteria, the list. Godly guys, own a ranch so your dad has a place to hunt, that kind of stuff. So the kind of character and stuff that we're looking for, we've even made lists of stuff that we're looking for in a man. Okay, this kid that's interested in her and she's interested in doesn't fit the criteria. Not even close. Nice kid, wrong kid for my daughter. Doesn't know the Lord, has a whole different moral compass, not the right guy. But for some reason, to my chagrin, she's interested in this kid. So she's going like, Dad, I want to date him. I want to go out with him. He wants to go out with me, And I'm like, no, he's the wrong guy. And so we're working this through for weeks. And I'm reminding her all the reasons why I know. And so one day, we're sitting on the couch talking about this, and then she pulls this one on me, shrewd girl. She goes, okay, Dad, I know all that. Like, I've known all of that stuff since I was a little kid. I get it. I know all of that stuff that you've taught me about that. But will you let me make the decision? So she put me in a position there that was a good position actually to be in as far as teaching your children to make wise decisions. Because she's going, I've got all the info. Now, Dad, you're making the decision. Now, will you let me make the decision? Now, there are times when the answer to that is no, and heck no. You're too young, too immature, that level of decision, no. This one's on the line. So, foolishness is knowing what the right thing is to do and not doing it. Or knowing what the wrong thing is to do and doing it. And at this stage, she's about to make a foolish decision. And so, here's what happened in my mind. I'm going, okay, this is gonna go bad. This is not gonna end well. If she goes out with this kid, it's gonna be a disaster. Question that I then had to wrestle with my head is, and knowing her personality, she's gonna make these kind of decisions on her own eventually. I can have her do it right now in my household where there's time for me to help her, to comfort her, to say, see, I told you so, to kind of work her through the catastrophe that this is gonna be. Or I could say no, she would be forced to obey me, we'd be in quadrant 3, she'd rebel, and it would probably happen when she leaves my home when the consequences are that much more severe. So, now this is just a judgment call, you guys. I'm like, okay. I looked at her and said, all right, you can make the decision. Knowing in my heart of hearts that this is gonna be a disaster. And what do you know? They're now engaged to be married, and he's just gonna be a great son-in-law. That is not what happened. It was a complete and utter disaster like I knew it was gonna be, and it had affected our entire household for months and months. Everybody in the household was affected by that sinful decision that she was making, a foolish, wrong decision. But it was under my roof where then I could go, see, I told you so, and I love you, and here, let me help you clean this one up and fix that and confront her on that. And I mean, it was all just happening under my roof, and I was able to guide her through the consequences of that as well as the learnings that came out of all of that. Now, that is a brutal time, you guys. Like, parents, you just know. Like, that is a horrible thing to have to go through. But in that time, I felt like I've got to let her make this decision so that she learns over the span of her life to make wise decisions. And I'm telling you, she draws on that now. She's in college now. She's thinking about boys way differently. Her standards are way higher than they were. I'm very pleased with all of the stuff she's learned from that utter failure. Okay. So, got to teach them to make wise decisions. It could be real costly for a season in your home when you do it. But for us, we wanted to have it happen under our roof. That was just one example. All right, let's hit stone number 5, and then we're going to move on to some other stuff. Teach them to live grace-filled lives. The myth on this one is failure is final, and this one relates to the stuff I just talked about. But instead, we give grace. You were created to receive grace and to give grace. This is one of God's most fundamental characteristics is grace, and it should be ours as well, meaning unmerited favor, unearned love. Your kids, my kids, need to understand that failure is not final, that there is nothing that you can do that's going to change my love for you. Conditional love is I love you if you do this, and if you don't do that, I love you because you do this and because you don't do that. And that is a paralyzing way to live. And God is so gracious to us that there's nothing we can do to adjust the love that he has for us. Can't diminish it, can't get any more of it. And our kids need to know that kind of security needs to be in your household. So don't be so performance driven with your kids that they would misunderstand how much you love them. So you're communicating consistently that you love your kids, and you're being affectionate with them and laying that foundation for then correction and discipline and so on. So they need to know what grace is. They don't earn your favor. They don't earn your love. There's nothing they can do that would cause your favor to diminish. There's nothing they can do that would cause your love to wane. So giving grace regardless of achievement and regardless of failure. So you're protecting against attaching your love and affection for your kids to performance. It's what my friend calls the performance treadmill, because you just run on it and go nowhere when you're trying to earn people's approval. We don't want our kids doing that. So you got to make your home a very safe place to fail. Okay? All right. So that's that. God gives you his grace when he gave you his son, Jesus, and nothing you can do is going to affect that. Our kids need to have that kind of security in our homes. That's going to come by how you show them how much you love them, regardless of what their behavior is, good or bad. All right. Now, when we started this sermon series, I mentioned to you this is the first series at Harvest Church on parenting, and I told you there were a couple reasons why. I would like to now introduce you to the two main reasons why this is the first sermon series at Harvest Church on parenting. My two delightful daughters, Emily and Madeline, would you please welcome them to the stage? Oh, hey, ladies.
Oh, hey.
So this is Emily. Oh, hey, bud. Oh.
Here we go, thanks.
Yeah, come on. Easy. Madeline, Emily, 1916. These are my kids. Would you say hi to each other?
Hello. Hello.
Okay, girls. So we're going to give these delightful people a little insight into what it's like living in our household.
Awesome.
And how challenging it is to be your parent.
Oh, yeah?
And so what we thought we'd do to get started is, I wrote a book, and it's just recently been published on parenting. I've kind of compiled all my parenting skills in a book, and the publishers put together an infomercial and they kind of spent some time in our house watching my parenting skills on display with my daughters. And so we'll take a look at this video, and then we'll talk about some of this.
Okay,
here we go.
awesome.
Well, hello there. I'm Pastor Vern. I've been raising my little bitty baby children into productive and contributing adolescents for, well, almost 20 years now. Nothing has brought me more joy or more sheer frustration than training a teenager. With a very young teen, correcting problem behavior can be maddening. Like you, I've tried all the tricks. Screaming myself hoarse, starving them, locking them in a closet for days on end, or just beating them without mercy. But after my third arrest and court-ordered anger management counseling, I've learned to channel my rage into an effective, non-violent teen training tool. It's called Dissing Your Teen. How to discipline your teen with mockery and verbal humiliation. You see, my daughters are much more intuitive than I give them credit for. They know when they're the butt of ridicule. And when they misbehave, a well-placed sarcastic comment or cutting remark can work wonders. Where a belt or even the Spankmaster 9400 fails. Whatever your teen's behavior problem, I guarantee I can help you fix it. Problems like asking for endless amounts of money.
Hey, Dad, can I have a few bucks to go out to the movies with my friends tonight?
Well, of course you can, honey. But why stop there? I mean, the Bible is very clear that you have not because you ask not. You have got to reach higher. Here, take my new Discover card. It's got a $10,000 limit. Spend it all. Reach for the stars and make that dream come true, because remember, it takes a lot of money to buy happiness. Okay, run along now, little one. Have fun. Okay.
Never mind, Lizzie. I can't go to the movies tonight. I had to apply for a third summer job. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for all the helping out with the money, Dad. Really appreciate it.
Watching endless DVR recordings of the show Catching Up with the Kardashians. Hi, Emily. Oh, no, relax. Don't get up. Just stay right there and relax. After all, you did put in a long day of work at a demanding and stressful job. Oh, no, wait a minute. That's me. I'm the one with the job. You're the one that lays around the house all day watching mindless reality TV shows and Facebooking about it.
Whatever.
Making a poor choice in boyfriends. Oh, hi, Maddie. I couldn't think of anything better to do than to wait around for you to come home at, looks like 3 a.m. Oh, and Kyle, AKA the Reaper, AKA Sluggo, AKA Fathead, is a great choice as a boyfriend. Everyone agrees that his 3 counts of aggravated assault, coupled with his public indecency and his magnetic personality, was a perfect possible addition to our family. So hey, great job there. Oh, and by the way, yeah, those are police lights behind his car. I wonder who called the cops on him this time.
You are unbelievable.
What? You're surprised I would use sarcasm and cutting remarks to discipline my kids? Well, don't knock it until you've tried it. It really works. As a matter of fact, I'm so confident that this effective way of parenting works, I'm compiling all of my techniques in my latest book, Dissing Your Teen: How to Discipline Your Teen with Mockery and Verbal Humiliation. Hey, it's not our job to be their best friend. Right, Maddie? You poor chooser of significant others?
Yeah, Dad, whatever.
Supplies are limited, so call now and order your copy today.
Oh, no, did I wake you? My deepest and sincerest apologies. But I managed to leave your breakfast and your lunch down on the kitchen table in case you feel the urge to, oh, I don't know, maybe get out of bed!
It's just like that, isn't it, girls?
Every day.
Love it.
Now, I don't use that much sarcasm.
You usually don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm much more severe than that.
You're more scary.
Scary. You're intimidating.
Bam, I'm scary. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so girls, let's talk through these 5 stones. I just want to talk about how, let's get a little assessment of how we did there. So the suffering deal. Have your parents taught you to suffer well?
Yes.
It's the right answer. Now, give me some example, like how did we do that?
Well, you always had your classic sayings.
I have
You
dadisms.
do. You have a couple.
Like,
You always tell us whenever we get hurt that it's a long way from your heart. And so we get no sympathy from Dad. We have to go to Mom for that. Maddie.
right, like you skin your knee, it's a long way
Yeah.
from your heart, and it's just gonna bleed a little, and you're gonna be fine.
We'll be okay.
Rub a little dirt on it. Yeah. Yeah.
Felt
What else?
So good at the time. You'd always tell us if we were complaining, there's enough complainers in this world, and no streeter of mine will be a complainer.
Yep.
So,
That's my gift to you, right? There's enough complainers in the world. We don't need a couple more.
And you'd also always tell us there's a lot of things to get mad about in this world, and this probably isn't one of them.
Yeah, there's been very few. I agree.
yep.
Now, sometimes, for instance, like when we'd wrestle when you were littler, you would always end up crying,
Always.
Always.
and that wasn't my fault.
No, because you'd even warn us, but we'd still wrestle. And we'd always walk away crying to Mom.
It does make me look a little mean. But you're tougher because of it, right?
That's right.
Right.
And okay, so your back injury, it was not related to any wrestling.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good.
I
Let's-
mean, maybe, but
So let's talk about that. Like there's, no, I hope not. But, I mean, it's congenital, but we didn't, I mean, you got it from me, but not because I injured you.
Right.
You got it from me genetically. All right, so
Yeah.
let's talk about your bad back.
So as some of you may know, I had back surgery a year and a half ago, and before that I was playing volleyball at Skyview, and it affected it a lot. I ended up not being able to play my senior year because of it, and during my junior year it got pretty bad, and during my games I'd be like, Dad, my back's killing me, and he's like, well, Em, you knew this, like, going into your game, and you're gonna come out of it okay, you'll be tough, and you're gonna be fine, and it definitely made me stronger, and I'm now tougher because of that. It's really shaped me, so that's something that I've grown through.
Yeah, so the suffering that you've experienced in your back, rather than me just doting on it, like there's been like, yeah, sorry, bud, and then there's the, yep, I get it, and I think you're able to handle stuff in life that is difficult a little better because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry for any suffering that I caused,
Okay.
kinda. Because over the long haul, I think you're stronger because of it. All right, let's talk about work. Now, both of you work pretty hard. You both have pretty good work ethics, though ironically, you both complain about your chores.
I don't
So let's
like
talk-
unloading the dishwasher.
I hate vacuuming the stairs. It's like literally my least favorite thing.
And man, do I feel bad about that. Right? Like I'm going, yeah, oh, I'm so sorry you got to vacuum the stairs in this house where I'm paying the mortgage and you're eating the food that I bought and that I'm the one maintaining things, and
You tell us we have to earn our keep.
that's exactly right. And
So
last
unload the
night, as a
dishwasher.
matter of fact, we had a little learning session on work. You guys learned a new skill. What was it?
You explain it.
Oh, no.
You guys learned how to plunge a toilet. Because one of you plugged up the toilet, and I used it as a learning opportunity. All right, girls. A person needs to know
Lovely.
what to do about a clogged toilet, right? And so someday your husband's going to be grateful that when you plug up the toilet, you can unplug it.
That's right.
Teaching you to work. Okay, so you both have jobs. Madeline, what do you do for a living?
I am a hostess at Mackenzie River up here in the Heights, and I also teach dance, little children how to dance.
Emily?
I'm a lifeguard at Oasis.
And you save people's
I
lives.
save their lives.
Okay, now so public compliment to both of you. I've been in both settings where people that work there have come to me and complimented your work ethic. Now, I just took credit for that, but it's still nice to hear that you guys are working hard. Now, good job. Okay, so what are some ways that we've taught you to work hard?
For me, I love horses, and I have some. And when we lived out at our old place near Shepherd, it was a lot of work, and I loved it. It was what I wanted to do and stuff, but there were days where I was like, I am not going down in the middle of the night to feed the horses when it's negative 20, you know? Like, I didn't want to do it, but Dad's like, well, that's too bad. You're going to do it. This is what you wanted. And I'm glad I did it. I loved it. It was just, that definitely taught me to have a work ethic.
Yeah. When she was breaking me down on getting horses, you were about 12 years old or something like that. One of the constant refrains I had with her is like, Emily, you don't want to do this. I said, you can always tell horse people because they're dirty and they limp. So you don't want to, I mean, that's a lot of work. You get dirty and the horses hurt you. But on the other hand, like, that's good training. And you got dirty and you limped.
I did.
Yeah. So in all of that, you learned good hard work ethic. I think that was huge. Madeline, you work very hard at your dancing craft.
Yes.
And how come?
There's a lot of work that goes into dance and a lot of training, and I kind of have this ridiculous schedule. So I go to dance for 3 to 4 hours after school, and then I try to do my homework, and he makes me go to bed at 10 so I don't stress out, which people say I stress out, but I don't think
You
so.
do? Oh, my goodness.
You stress. It's exhausting to watch you.
And so we're finding that balance of work ethic but not having you freak out too much.
Right,
Because you work
right.
hard at your grades, both of you do. All right, good job, you guys. All right, so one last question on this. This concept of working for the Lord, does that factor into the way you work now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How?
definitely. When I'm personally hosting at Mackenzie River, when people are demanding or just rude about things. I tend to want to.
Never Harvest Church people, but
No.
sometimes
No,
people
no.
are.
Sometimes people are.
Okay.
And I tend to want to talk to them in a negative manner or I don't want to be nice to them. But then I think of the Lord and how he's watching me and he'd want me to do the right thing. And if he was me, how he would treat them. So that plays a big role
Yeah.
with people.
So you're working for Jesus rather than for Jen, for
Right.
instance. Yeah, okay.
And for me, I have to think of it as like when there's things that I could get away with not doing at work, I have to think like, I could totally get away with this right now, but that's not the right thing to do. The Lord would want me to do it and do it in a good way. And so I have to really just make sure I do that when I have the attitude of not wanting to do something at
Nice.
work.
Yeah, so when God is boss, you work harder.
Right.
Right on. Okay, number 3, money. Oh, money. Let's talk about money. Let's
money.
start with this. Do you budget?
Yes.
Yes.
Who taught you to do that? Okay, and so, and my parents taught me. So let's talk a little bit about how the budget thing works.
Well, when we were, I don't know how old we were, but we were younger, and Dad sat us down, and we had these 2 big spiral notebooks, and they were divided into 3 sections, and one was savings, it was labeled savings, tithe, and then mine to manage. And so every time we got money, we'd have to do 10% tithe, 10% savings, and the rest could go to mine to manage. And you could always put more into the other 2 categories. That rarely happened, but that was how we learned a budget, and we still have to do that even to this day.
And the labels are interesting, the savings and tithe, but what's that other one called?
Mine to manage.
And why do we call it mine to manage?
Because it's the Lord's, it's not ours. It's just ours to.
It's ours to manage.
You're the steward of it. I just had trouble calling it, personal or mine or something like that, because it's not, it's God's. Okay, so I was just making that statement with him on that label. Now, do you guys tithe?
Yes.
Yes.
And how's that going?
Pretty good.
Good.
Sometimes it's hard when you get a paycheck and you want to spend it on something nice, and you have to remember you have to tithe, and you don't want to steal from the Lord. So I struggle with that still sometimes. I'm like, I could so go buy that Coach purse, but I'm going to tithe because it's the right thing to do, and the Lord will bless me for it.
Coaches have purses?
No, the brand, Dad.
The brand, Dad.
Oh, it's a brand.
Yes.
All right. Well, you don't need that.
I know I don't need that.
Okay. Now, there's a constant refrain that you guys talk about me saying when you announce that you just got paid. I always come back with a question.
Did you tithe?
Yeah, we're so excited to get paid, and then he goes, did you tithe, or have you tithed yet? Yes, Dad, we did.
Okay.
Be excited for us.
Well, just keep doing it. All right. Both of you tithe to your church, and both of you have given to the capital campaigns. You've helped support Oasis and so on. So proud of you. Good job. That's awesome. I'm glad that you're committed like that. All right, that's finances. Let's talk about making wise decisions. All right, Emily, let's go to the fiasco. So
You told them.
I did, yeah. Nice kid, wrong guy for you. What did you learn from that whole deal?
A lot. First, to listen to my dad. He always says, stick with me. And when I was younger, I was like, whatever. Like, I don't really care, Dad. But now I go to him for absolutely everything, and I always want his advice. And so now I definitely am more picky about significant others, and I will not be dating anymore what he calls fat heads.
I say it in love.
Yeah.
It's...
Kinda.
Yeah, okay, so stick with me. Okay. My credibility went up a little bit as you saw that I had your best interest at heart. And
You actually knew what you were talking about.
okay. Now, Maddie, that was like kind of a hard era in our house.
Yes.
Because she wasn't in a really good place, and it affected
Right.
everything, how she treated you, me, everybody. We were all kind of in a tough spot for a while.
Right.
You learned from that.
Yes.
What'd you learn?
Well, I learned that, like you said, you have the best interest for me. Boys at this age are not worth your time.
No.
So I'm just gonna stay away a little bit. And I still am, so you should be proud of me for
Yeah,
that.
no, you're doing great.
Still staying away.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was just boys are just not a good thing.
Yeah. How am I doing, dads? I mean, this is going pretty good. So in that whole season, as she was, I don't know, in some episode, Madeline makes this statement that I then wrote down on a sticky note. I grabbed a pen and a sticky note and wrote it down. And here's a picture of it. It's sitting in a cupboard right now in our house. And I made her sign it. But the shrewd kid that she is, look how she signed it. She spelled her name wrong. And so she's got a loophole. But anyway, it's still, every time you get a glass out of the cupboard, that's staring at her. So helping her make wise decisions. Okay, girls, do you read your Bible?
Yes.
And how do you use your Bible these days? You had an interesting comment about this.
You actually bought, I was having a hard time finding things I really needed from the Bible, like certain topics. So I told you about that. And you got me this Bible where like the first 15 pages have like topics. So I was like gossip, trust, all sorts of things. And so whenever I'm really, really struggling, I like go to those and I read everything it lists for me, and it's really been helpful. And I really appreciate that. So thanks for doing that for me.
Yeah.
Love it.
And I have the same thing in my Bible. When I'm struggling with something like anger, I go to the back and I read up on all those verses and I really try to apply it to my life. And I think now that I'm older, I'm doing that more than ever. Like when I was younger, yeah, I read my Bible, but I think even then it was kind of hard for me to understand it and like comprehend everything in it. So now that I'm older, I can, and I'm reading it and I'm like, okay, next time I'm feeling angry, I'll remember this verse and then apply it to my life. So
Do you really struggle with anger? Is that one of your things?
once in a while, just once in
That's
a
so
while.
stupid, Emily. I'm just kidding.
Where do I get it from, Dad?
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Grace, teaching them to live grace-filled lives. So we talked about the issue of unconditional love. And did you guys feel unconditional love in our house? You didn't have to earn our love?
Well, not necessarily love like we do. I always knew you're gonna love me, but, well, I mean, for the most part, yes. But there were times when I was younger, and I was getting disciplined. When we were done getting disciplined, he was leaving my room or whatever, I'd be like, I love you, Dad, just to make sure. If he said it back, I'd be like, yes, he still loves me, even though he just got so mad at me. So it was kind of something, I mean, obviously, you didn't do it on purpose to make me feel like you didn't love me, but it was just something that I needed to say to make sure my dad still loves me after he got mad.
So failure in our house, it wasn't the safest place to fail,
Right,
or still is.
sometimes.
Like you've talked about how when you heard the garage door going up, you had a...
Like still at 19 and a half, and I've been away for a year, and Mom's like, Dad's home, and I'm like, did I do anything wrong today? Like, I have to think about it to make sure I'm not gonna get punished when he gets home.
Okay, so you picking up on this one here? Like this puts me a little bit in quadrant 3. Like we have rules in our house. Sometimes maybe too rule-ish. Well, your mom and I are different on that.
Yeah.
I'm less rules, she's more rules.
Definitely.
You guys have to navigate that, we do too. It's just our temperament style, our parenting styles. But that grace deal that I've been talking about, like I'm preaching to me too. That's a weakness of mine. There would be, these guys have felt a little insecure in do I love them unconditionally, and is it behavior dependent? And so even your grades fixation, you felt like
I had to get A's. Like, I thought I was supposed to be the A student in the family, and I got my first B, and I thought he was gonna like punish me, because I didn't think that.
But and I've tried to back off of that
Yeah.
because you struggled too much there with your significance coming from some sort of achievement. Right. So that's something I'm working on that was sort of an unhealthy thing in our house is, did they feel secure in how much we love them? So my bad on that. Okay, girls, some parting comments. So we've made it through the 5. What else might you want to say, Madeline?
Well, since you always tell stories about us, I feel like it's time.
It's fair. I'll just sit back. Go ahead.
So
we're running out of time.
You know. Well, just God, you are a Bronco fan, and you were watching. I remember I was really little, and you were watching a Bronco game, and he wasn't too happy about it. And I had my favorite bedazzled diamond clip. It was gorgeous. It was beautiful. I just took it out and set it on the ground. Well, Broncos didn't score a touchdown, so he decided to pick up my clip and throw it at the TV and shatter it to millions of pieces. And I still hold that against you to this day. So I just wanted to let them know that's something I have problems with.
So
You
we've
have a temper sometimes.
I do not.
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, so we've taught our kids this. Madeline, I was wrong to pick up your beautiful bedazzled clip and throw it against the television in anger. Will you forgive me?
Yes, thank you.
Now you can't talk about it at the 11 o'clock service.
I'll try not to.
Emily, parting comment?
Yes. On a more serious note, I just want to speak to kids and teenagers. I'm 19 and a half, and I'm still learning this, and I'm still being punished and disciplined. But I know, like, in the moment when your parents are disciplining you, it's hard, and you don't like it, and it's the last thing you want from them, and you're mad at them for it. But when you get older, you're going to be mad if they hadn't done that, because it's what really shapes and grows you. And if they hadn't disciplined me when I was wrong, I would be nowhere near where I am today. And so it's a good thing. I'm thankful for it. So thanks, Dad.
Hey, you're welcome. Yeah, good job. That's a good word. Okay. Very mature of you. Wonder who your dad is. Okay, so girls, want to let you know I love you and I'm proud of you. And as I look over the landscape of my life and see lots of failure, one of the things I draw on is God's grace that he shows me, and one of the ways he's most profoundly demonstrated it is that he's allowed me to be your dad, and I'm grateful for that. And being a PK is not an easy thing, and you're handling it with grace and dignity and strength, and so good job.
Thanks.
Way to go, girls. Proud of you.
Love you.
Love you too.
Love you.
All right, off you go.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Good job.